Welcome back to EBACE TV. I'm Allison Godlove. Joining me now in the studio is Alverdi Serpa Jr. He is the Director of Product Strategy with Embraer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you feeling about EBACE 2023?
Very excited. Looking forward to the show. I think we're going to have a great show here.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to getting it started. Sustainability is a big topic at EBACE 2023 this year. So talk to me about Embraer's sustainability goals.
Okay, so Embraer is very much committed with the industry goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2050. We understand aviation emissions are relatively small when compared to everything that is produced by the human race on a yearly basis. We are about 2%. That's for the entire aviation. When it comes to business aviation, the number is even smaller, with 0.04%. In spite of that, our industry is under great scrutiny, and we believe it's not just to protect our business, but it's also our duty to act in order to reduce or completely eliminate the emissions. For that, back in 2021, we put out several ESG goals, being the E a very important part of these goals. So at that time we published our goals, we decided that we would go carbon zero growth starting 2022. Then we would go with 100% renewable energy by 2030, and we would have net zero emissions in our operations by 2040. And with that, we believe that by 2050 we'll be able to, together with the industry, achieve this goal of net zero emissions, which is something very important for the continuity of our business.
What are some of the things that Embraer is doing then to achieve those goals?
Okay, so starting with a quick definition, right? Scopes 1, 2, and 3. Scopes 1 and 2 are related to the emissions that we as a company, as a manufacturer, we produce when we make the aircraft. And Scope 3 are the emissions that our customers produce when they fly our airplanes. So we have actions to address all three scopes, 1, 2, and 3. Right? When it comes to Scope 1, we are already switching the jet fuel to SAF whenever this is available. We started using SAF on a constant basis in Melbourne, Florida, in middle of 2021 when we announced our ESG goals, and then from there we keep purchasing SAF and having our demo flights and production flights using that fuel. So that's one thing. The other thing is, and that's now addressing Scope 2, right? In Brazil, we have already managed to replace all our electricity sources by 100% renewable energy coming from 100% renewable sources. So that's a great accomplishment, we believe, when it comes to Scope 2. And then switching to Scope 3, which I think is the most exciting part of this venture, because that's when and where we address the biggest portions of the emissions that the aviation generates. Then we are investing in several fronts. One of them is related to SAF again, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. We are working in order to certify our airplanes to fly with 100% pure neat SAF. We've flown one of our commercial jets last year with 100% pure SAF. We are going to fly until the end of this year our business jets, the Phenom 300 and the Praetor 600, also on 100% SAF. And then with that, we're gonna make sure our airplanes can operate safely with the pure fuel. In addition to that effort, still on scope 3, right, we are investing on developing technologies related to electrification. So we've converted one of our airplanes, made it into an electric technology demonstrator. And we started flying this airplane about 2 years ago. And we are collecting a lot of data, a lot of information from these flight tests. And we're going to use this data, this information, this knowledge in the development of the EVE, which is our VTOL project, and also in other platforms, that we may develop, in the future. So that's on electrification. As soon as we conclude these tests on this electric demonstrator, we're going to add a fuel cell to it, which is another interesting technology. And then, as we are doing now with the electric demonstrator, we're going to continue doing flight tests with the fuel cell system. In the long term, we will maybe explore hydrogen and have a dual fuel concept where we would use hydrogen in short flights. With that, we would have zero emissions, but as longer flights require more fuel, then for those flights we would use SAF. Mm-hmm. So we would be able to come up with airplanes that would have zero emissions for short distances and net zero for long distances. And so these airplanes would be able to fly the distances that currently business jets can fly. So these are some examples of investments in technology development related to the scope 3 emissions, which again are the emissions that the airplanes put out when our customers operate and fly them.
Mm-hmm. What is Embraer's view on this path to net zero emissions?
Well, that's a great question. And I think there's a consensus in the industry that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And there's not a silver bullet that will address this challenge or issue at once. So it's a combination of several initiatives, efforts, and will require the OEMs, us, right? Will require the operators, will require the government, the authorities, the suppliers, the fuel producers to work together in order to enable all the advancements that need to be in place for us to, by 2050, reach the goal of net zero emissions. It's not easy, and I think nobody is saying it's going to be easy, but nevertheless, we believe it's doable. And we are, again, as a team, as a group, working together in order to get there.
And that's why EBACE is so important. You all can be here together and have those conversations in person.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Well, Alverdi, thank you so much for coming by to talk with us. It was good to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great week here at EBACE.
Likewise.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.